Yo, mic check 1 2. What's going on, family? Y'all are now tapped into the Low End Theory. I'm your host. This is Stay Fresh JF. Y'all know who this is, man. So today it might look a little bit different, might feel a little bit different if you're listening to me, wherever that you might be listening to me. If you're in your car, if you're on the bus right now, hopefully you got your fare saved up to catch your transfer, whatever, how you doing it, man. However you receiving my voice, I want to tell you first and foremost, thank you for tapping in with me. You could be listening to anything right now. Hopefully you're listening to the things we about to get into a little bit later in the episode, but you're listening to me and I appreciate y'all, man. While you got your accessibles accessible right now, go ahead and check me out, man, on Instagram, on Twitter, and everything that you can follow me at. That's at Stay Fresh JF, STAYFRESH. Today, man, we are brought to you live and direct from our good peoples over at Humbly Radio, man. So we're going to upload the visuals to this. You know what I mean? Hopefully I'm pretty enough that y'all can tap back in for the next episode, man, because these people were gracious enough to bring me on into the family, man. So this is a new experience for me. I'm hyped. I'm geeked up. I'm happy for this to be one of the experiences that I'm venturing into for the next level, because that's all I get, man. Oh man, JF, when you gonna do this, when you gonna do that, man? Listen, I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it, and I appreciate your patience. So without all of the superlatives, man, last we spoke, man, and I got a lot of positive feedback from the last time we tapped in too, man, from people that were listening. I got into my political sphere a little bit. I was on my soapbox, letting people know that here in DC, those protests and the political action that was going on down on Capitol Hill and Pennsylvania Avenue was definitely something that, needed to be addressed, especially if I consider myself someone who's tapped into those things. So yeah, man, I really wanted to extend a hand to everybody that told me that they listened to it and told me that, it was an experience for them, and to hear, my takes on things gave them a different perspective on how they might have been processing things. So really appreciate that, for all of the love, you know what I mean, and all of the support, man. Hopefully when y'all see this on the timeline, this will be something else that y'all can tap into. So let's really get into what we came here to do, right? Since we last spoke, man, I feel like everything's been at an accelerated rate. Not to get, morbid or to be a Debbie Downer. I don't even know what it is if it's a male. What is it if you're a male, man? If you're a Debbie Downer, is it even something if you're a male? I can't even, I wouldn't even know, right? So yeah, it is what it is, man. Just to be a downer ass motherfucker. Man, I want to say definitely to my actors, you know what I mean? Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. That was a heavy hit, man. That was definitely something that took me aback. And 2020 just kept on 2020. And I hear recently that we just lost Eddie Van Halen. And I definitely want to extend condolences to that. I wouldn't be a lover of music if I didn't, appreciate what Eddie Van Halen led to the classic rock, especially considering that Running with the Devil is my favorite classic rock record. There was a judge. What was the judge lady? The judge lady? Ruth. Yeah. RBG, right? Yeah. Rest in peace to her, man. She was definitely also a pivotal role in the political sphere, especially for women, in the legal battles for equality, man. So definitely, man, 2020 just keeps on 2020. And while I got, everybody's attention, rest in peace to my beloved uncle, Teddy James Rogers. I love you, boy. My mama is still hurting, you know what I mean? All of his 7 kids, that's right, he got 7 babies. It was the 80s, don't worry about it. Everybody was doing it. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to my Uncle Teddy Rogers. I love you, baby. Yeah, man, that was a lot to ramble off, right? And we still ain't talked a damn word about music. So yeah, let's stop BSing. Let's stop bullshitting. Savage Mode 2 drop, man. Savage Mode 2. Metro Boomin, 808 Mafia definitely gave some dope shit to my man 21 Savage, and I feel like he's been able to bounce back and shake off some of those rumors that was surrounding him. Not to be one of those guys that surrounds himself with too much rumor gossip and shit like that, because I can't stand that. This is strictly about the music and their cultural contributions. But everything else is like a car, right? If you go to the dealership and you get the car, you definitely got to know what was going on underneath the hood and what's going on, with all of the other things, because it's not just about driving from A to B, right? So with my man Savage Mode, with my man 21 Savage got hit with a bunch of stuff, man. Oh, he's not real. He wasn't born in America. He wasn't this and he wasn't that. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I wouldn't know. I don't even drink Chinese tea. You know what I'm saying? But that's beside the point. You feel what I'm saying? I wouldn't know a damn thing about that. But the way that he was able to shake those rumors off, the way that he was able to get back into his bag, and deliver quality music, especially after winning a Grammy, because he definitely could have won Hollywood. Won that Grammy with J. Cole. Super dope, man. And even in the we're gonna get into the track listing as well. He was able to bring that Grammy back to the hood for the visuals for Running. And I'm sure that everybody that's tapped into me is tapped into their social timelines as well, right? So seeing that video, I think Elliot Wilson might have posted it. Shout out to the big homie Elliot Wilson, YN. That was super dope to see, you know what I mean? Because again, he could have went Hollywood. He could have been, one of those cats that, just shake off the hood and just, caters to his newfound fame or his newfound fans, you know what I mean? But he's sticking true to what got him here in the first place, and that's something that's commendable no matter what your line of work is. So shout out to 21 Savage for that, man. That was a super dope look in the Running video, bringing that Grammy back to the hood for everybody to touch. Yeah, man. So let's get into this track listing a little bit, because and the first thing that took me by surprise, man, your man has, what's my man? Morgan Freeman on the damn narrator joint. Yep. Now, if you know anything about, that's great. Yo, Morgan Freeman, first of all, was born an old guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that he, you know what I'm saying? His footprints on his birth certificate are grown man feet, size 12. You know what I mean? My man came out a grown ass old man. You know what I mean? But shout out to Morgan Freeman, because when I think about God's face, I definitely think about Morgan Freeman. But Morgan Freeman on the narrated tip was definitely a pleasant surprise. And I don't know who orchestrated that move. I don't know who's on his management squad. You know what I mean? But that was definitely a hell of a look for 21 Savage, to have Morgan Freeman's voice sort of, as the griot, the griot. Is it griot? Is it? I think it's griot, right? Yeah. I don't have a thesaurus in front of me. But shout out to his management team, because that was definitely a beautiful thing to hear from that. So just to go through the track list, right? I love how condensed it was, man. It was 44 minutes, less than an hour, which is super convenient for, you know what I mean, people from our era, I guess millennials or, Generation Y or whatever they want to categorize us as. Our attention spans are probably an hour long at the most. So, you know what I mean? Which is crazy because, considering how albums used to be made, we didn't hear from Luther Vandross until he was Skinny Luther. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy to see how the pace at which people produce music, especially being down there in Atlanta, where I feel like them brothers produce like an album, like 4 albums a year. You know what I'm saying? 4 albums a quarter. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. So 45 minutes. Back into his bag, definitely something that I wasn't expecting, but a pleasant surprise nonetheless. And to check out the cover art, you know what I mean? I'm not too sure if y'all are into cover art, as much as I am, but I give my listeners credit for, being as tapped into the culture as I am, right? So if y'all know anything about my man Master P and how No Limit was cranking them out. Speaking of, what is it with the South when these niggas just like produce albums, like, you know what I'm saying? Like people just like Aunt Jemima produced Syrup. Like this shit is crazy. These man just put out albums back to back. But I say that to say back in the day, man, my man Master P used to put out albums at an insane rate too. And the cover art is reminiscent of that, right? So Silk the Shocker, I know that my man Snoop, he got his career saved by Master P. And that lineup was crazy. Mia X, Mystical back in the day, like all of those dudes, definitely set the blueprint for how entrepreneurship should be done these days. So to see 21 Savage, tap into that bag as well with the cover art was definitely something that I admired too. And y'all already know the subject matter is going to be what the subject matter is going to be. It's going to be a lot of bitches and hoes. It's going to be a lot of gunshots. It's going to be a lot of hedonism. It's going to be a lot of, gratuitous violence. It's going to be a lot of nonsense like that. But, this is America. We didn't create it. We just abide by the rules and collect our checks in the process. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. So, yeah, man, but it's all in how you do it as well. And then also trying to find those pockets, right? Trying to find the pockets in the rhythm, trying to find the pockets in the music. What is the beat telling you, as a creative, how are you going to package this in a way that your core fans can tap into and come back more and more, right? So that was definitely something that I paid close attention to as well. So it's a 15 track joint. that I'm seeing right now, 15 tracks on the record. And each of them are no longer than 3:35. I think the longest one on there is Said and Done, which is the very last track, which should most likely should be the longest joint on your project. Should be the one that's going to, bring up the caboose and bring it home. Notable records on there, man. That running shit is crazy. That was probably, one of those joints that I was just like rocking on repeat, right? And then the visuals on that, like I said earlier, the visuals on that lended itself, to making me a fan of the project as a whole. Of course, he got Drake on there. Because who doesn't have Drake on their albums these days, right? Let's keep it a buck, right? Let's keep it all the way tall, right? Right. Drake's on everybody's album. Shout out to the boy Aubrey, man. He's doing his thing, man. He always been doing his thing. Young Thug is on the album. Young Nudie, don't know who Young Nudie is, but I've been hearing his name more and more. Yeah. I haven't really been tapped into Young Nudie, but I definitely do want to get tapped into Young Nudie because I've been seeing his name more and more. It's actually fire, right? Yeah, that's the thing, B. Like, and that's another thing that I love about the music. It's like when you see that feature and you don't know who that dude is. I think I got put on the Don Toliver that way. On what? Yeah, Don Toliver was I think I might have first heard Don Toliver on the Mudboy record. Yeah, with Cactus, with Travis Scott and all those dudes, right? That's how you got tapped in, right? That's how it goes, man. So you see a feature, you're like, damn, I like that contribution, and then you get tapped into his music. So definitely shout out to Young Nudie, man, wherever you at. What other joints is on there? Brand New Draco is definitely dope. To hear Morgan Freeman break down the difference between snitches and rap. Listen, man, my bad. I didn't want to clap all in the microphone. Hopefully that didn't peek out on y'all's audios. But to hear Morgan Freeman break down the difference between snitches and rats is the funniest shit. And it shouldn't be funny because it should be some real shit that we should tap into because he said some real shit on there. But that was like, yo, this shit is real. You know what I mean? Definitely dope. So shout out to Morgan Freeman again, man. Long live Morgan Freeman, G. What other standout joints is on there? Of course, Snitches and Rats, the actual record, you know what I'm saying? That shit was fire too. What else do we have on there, man? I said Brand New Draco, right? R.I.P. Love, the sample on that joint is crazy. Now, I'm a huge hip hop buff, and y'all already know this, right? This is season 3. We don't got to bring y'all up to speed. Y'all know what's going on with me. I love hip hop. So if I hear a sample, I probably know where it came from, and I probably know what artist did it. So I think R.I.P. Love was on a Nas record. I want to say it was written. Not too sure, but we're going to fact check that. We're going to get a fact checker in here too, man, for sure, because I'll be rambling without even knowing for sure what it is. And I'll be certain, but then again, I don't be all the way certain, you know what I mean? So which is the purpose of having a fact checker. So yeah, man. And then let's get right into a nice little stark contrast to this thing, right? So my man Bryson Tiller dropped his long-awaited, now, I don't even know how long it's been since Bryson dropped his joint. I think Bryson took a nice little hiatus between his. It's been about 2 years, right? Been a while since Bryson dropped some joints. Right? I feel like we definitely gotta have room for some facts to be said in this joint without all of the fanboying. Anniversary, man, and I think that definitely had some dope implications too, man, because it's been a while since we got introduced to Bryson. And if you were tapped in, I think maybe a year before he dropped Trap Soul, I want to say I might have heard some SoundCloud joints from Bryson. So it's real dope to see his progression to where he started out. When I first heard him with like 502 Come Up and a few other joints. So it's been about 3 years, right? Been about 3 years since his last one. So to see where he is now, man, is definitely a dope progression, man. I always love to see artists not, stagnate themselves and definitely get to a place where, they're able to have some wiggle room within their, their artistry and their expressions, which is a super dope thing to see. And I think there's a time sort of through line. I was definitely watching. Shout out to Rob Markman from Genius, man. I definitely rock with Rob Markman and what he's able to do on the journalism front with hip hop journalism. Rob Markman sat down with Bryson and definitely had a dope interview. And there was a time through line that you see like throughout the entire project that I thought was super dope as well. So to see how that plays itself out throughout like the 30 minutes that is the entire album. So 10 records, 30 minutes. Again, man, we living in a microwave era, man, where these artists are giving us like these moments that are here for maybe 3 weeks tops, maybe a month. You know what I mean? Depending on how strong the project is in the first place. But definitely something to, you know what I mean, to tap into if you haven't already, man. The joint is called Anniversary. You know what I mean? On the and I think it comes not too long after the initial joint, Trap Soul, was released 5 years ago, which is super dope to tap into as well. So just to go through the track list, right? We got Years Go By, some notable joints that I was really feeling, that I was really rocking with. Always Forever. Yeah, man. Always Forever is the joint. That shit is fire. Inhale, which is crazy because that joint samples some records off the Waiting to Exhale album. You know what I mean? Which was huge back in the day. I didn't know that Waiting to Exhale was directed by Forrest Whitaker.
I didn't know.
That's crazy, right? Like the most chick flick movie of all time, you know what I mean, was directed by a man, which is, you know what I mean? But yeah, right, by Uncle Zuri. That's crazy. Yo, but yeah, that's neither here nor there, man. Talk about fact checks. That's a fact check for your ass. But no, man, things change. It's definitely crazy. I definitely rock with that joint, right? Next to You, Sorrows was one of those joints, you know what I mean? So we'll just say the whole album, right? The whole album is crazy, right? Sorrows was one of those joints. Out of Time with Drizzy on there, man, definitely brings it home. To get sentimental with Keep Doing What You're Doing with his grandmother on there. Rest in peace to the Bryson's grandmoms. You know, I mean, all of these things, man, are definitely something to consider when you're making a complete body of work. So, you know, you want themes that you can constantly tap into. You want to have, you know, digestible music. Now, the criticism of the album that I've been hearing is if he delivered or was this an appetizer to want more, right? Because I've seen mixed reviews, you know what I mean? Now, I'm a Bryson fan. I love Bryson, particularly because I think he sings what a lot of guys rap about. You know what I mean? He's a type of cat that's going to sing to you without all of the hyper masculine sort of things that people can take as being detrimental, right? And that's refreshing to see, man. And that's refreshing to hear, because I'm sure that's the thing that made Jodeci big back in the day. You had dudes that were relatable to the guys that can't sing. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing about Bryson. He's relatable to dudes that can't sing at all. But you know what I mean? Like, damn, I did used to think about that type of shit. Like, she do be spending too much damn time with her friends. Like, yeah, the fuck do they be doing? Like, that's some real shit. You know what I mean? And to hear my man sing about it in a way that can make females want to sing with it too is like, yo, this nigga's on to some different type of shit. So yeah, but did it set you up for wanting more? Me personally, I was satisfied with it because I know how painstaking it is to create a body of work. I know how painstaking it is to make yourself that vulnerable to put out your music, right? It's hard work, man. It really is hard work, and it really is difficult to open yourself up to that type of vulnerability and criticism. But you know, not to fanboy too much, but was it solid? Was it a solid body of work? To me, yeah. But you know, if you read your timeline, it might be like, you could have worked on that a little bit longer, Playboy. You know what I mean? Could have using a few extra. Yeah, and it's natural. You're going to compare it. Yeah. Right. Right, because you're chasing ghosts.
Yeah.
You're chasing ghosts. Yeah.
Like, Trap Soul is literally
right.
classic.
Right.
It's like the same thing with Nas and his first Illmatic.
Illmatic, like, man.
Everything that he does after that, you can compare it to that, but like, wow.
Right.
He's in a different space.
He's in a completely different space. And that's what artistry is, man. If you stay in the same place and you allow yourself to be stagnant, you know what I'm saying? You might be somebody like Chingy, you know what I mean? But not to hate on Chingy, man. Chingy, you my dog. Chingy, you my dog, not to violate, you know what I mean? But
R.I.P. Chingy.
Yeah, for sure. Chingy's career, because I think he's still breathing. But nah, man. Definitely, you know what I mean? Stagnation is the last thing that you want, trying to chase ghosts, you know what I'm saying? Which is my man's point. So yeah, man, it definitely wanted, you know, I definitely was left wanting a little bit more. But nonetheless, I definitely appreciated what the offering was, you know what I mean? And I wasn't too critical of you know, well, this could have been longer and that could have been this and that could have been that, you know what I mean? Because not everybody's a critic, man. And to be honest with you, not everybody should be a critic, you know what I mean? There should just be fans, you know what I mean? And people who are sent here to, you know, to critique the content. But not to harp on that, I'm rocking with it. Hopefully, you know, there's more to come from Bryson, because, you know, it took a long time, and I feel like he's in the vein of those artists that take their time with it, and you should take your time with it, and you should, you know, make sure that it is something that you're comfortable with, and giving us 2 years to sit with, with your offering of artistic expression. So to wrap this thing on up, I'm not going to hold you too long, man. You know what I mean? Y'all be sleeping. Now, this is a new segment. So I always get feedback that, you should have like a segment in your joint where you break down, this or that, or figure something out. So I finally figured out how we going to go about doing that, right? So this segment is going to be called the Y'all Sleeping segment, right? And the Y'all Sleeping segment is going to be dedicated to an artist that I feel like has a solid buzz, but should get a little bit more love than what they've been getting thus far. You know what I mean? It should be, pedestalized by people who are tapped in. Well, I don't know if pedestalized is the right word, but should be exalted, should be given their flowers, right? Should be given their flowers for the contributions that they've been giving us over the years. And I definitely think that this artist is deserving of that, because this nigga produces music at an insane rate. And no, I'm not talking about Currency. You know what I mean? Because he's all produced through this joint. But yeah, I feel like Spitter produces albums. God damn, like, you know what I mean? He might as well be McDonald's. But Larry June, man. Shout out to Larry June. Shout out to the Bay Area. Shout out to San Francisco. Shout out to Oakland. Shout out to Berkeley. The entire Bay Area, man. Vallejo. Yeah, man, because, they've been moving. And they've been a steady force, I think, in hip-hop. You know what I mean? Born to Mac came out in 1982. So, you know what I mean? The Bay Area has definitely been steady contributors to the culture for years, since its inception. And I feel like they've never really been given the flowers that I feel like they've been deserving of for a long time. Yeah, man. I feel like, Larry June drops albums nonstop. I think he dropped 3 this year. One from Cooking Soul. 4, right? He got Cruising USA with Cardo. That was nuts. Yeah, man. Adjust to the Game. Man, Orange Season is the joint with Cooking Soul that I feel like is a beautiful album. Like, that album should be put on vinyl, man. But Uncle Larry, man. So if you're not tapped into Larry June, man, do yourself a favor for sure and check out Larry June. He's an artist out of San Francisco. Definitely, you know what I mean? He's an acquired taste, but you know what I'm saying? I'm sure if y'all tapped in the way that I'm tapped in, then y'all already accept it for what it is, right? Definitely super dope, man. And Harry Fraud produces the entire joint. Shout out to Harry Fraud as well, man, because, his beats feel like if a leather seat could talk to me, you know what I mean? Like, if a suede seat could talk to me, I feel like it would sound like you know what I mean? It would sound like a Harry Fraud instrumental, you know what I mean? It just sounds so damn good to me. So some notable joints on there, Expensive Couches, Sunday Morning Drive with Currency. Speaking of Currency, shout out to New Orleans and Currency. Dom Kennedy is also on Sunday Morning Drive. I Like You. That's another joint that I really, put in rotation. Really, that shit is fire. Shout out to Herm Lewis as well, man. Herm Lewis is like Big Rube from Outkast, you know what I mean? Now, if you don't know who Big Rube is, man, if you've ever seen the movie ATL, he's the guy that does the poem at the very end when Shad gets shot and they're running through the hospital. That's Big Rube. Big Rube is a poet from Atlanta. Who's been featured on a bunch of Outkast records back in the day, you know what I mean? So I definitely get feels from Herm Lewis in the Big Rube vein, you know what I mean? So shout out to Herm Lewis. And Larry June, man, you know what I mean? So those are some joints to sit with, you know what I mean, through the rest of your quarantine, man. Definitely want to do yourself a favor and familiarize yourselves with that. And while you at it too, before I got out of here, I definitely wanted to shout out Benny the Butcher too, man, because that joint that he got with Wayne and Big Sean is going stupid right now. So if you haven't listened to that, do yourself a favor, listen to that too. So I think we got a lot, man. So, again, man, shout out to the good people at Humbly Radio for letting me use their platform to run my mouth like my chin got legs. I really appreciate that, man. Y'all people have been great to me, man. And hopefully this is a start of, a great relationship that I got with my partners over there, man. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this wherever that you might be watching it or listening to it, wherever that you might be listening to it, I appreciate you greatly, 100%. Again, I'm your host, Stay Fresh JF. Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at those same handles. Stay Fresh JF. No fancy lettering or no, I don't tweet how Cam Newton makes his Instagram post. So that should be easy to find me, right? So check me out, man. Again, this is the Low End Theory season 3 coming at you bigger and badder than ever. Y'all already know what it is. Until then, love life. I'm gonna check in with y'all soon. All right. Now my phone is blowing up. Holla at me when you holla at me. I'm in the bathroom.